My childhood dream was to be the first great Jewish NBA star. That wasn't a joke. To that point, the closest we'd gotten was a guy named Moses Malone. And he wasn't even Jewish, that was just his name. But I wasn't really jock material. I mean, I was too short. I was unathletic. I had a lisp, which meant that ethith were my nemethith. I had a mom who told me things like, the big boys in school are just jealous of you because your strongest muscle is your brain. Still true. But I gave it my best shot. I practiced and practiced. I tried out year after year, and eventually I actually made my high school varsity basketball team as a starting announcer. I idolized so many players. I mean, I had a cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan in my bedroom. You know, I cut my hair like Steve Nash. I did a school project on Yao Ming. I wore LeBron James's jersey. I looked up to these guys because, you know, their strongest muscles were their muscles. I remember the first pair of basketball shoes I got were Dwayne Wade's first line of Converse sneakers. And he promoted them with this commercial that showed him getting knocked down a bunch of times. And at the end, he says, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And I was like, awesome. It took me about 10 years to realize that that doesn't make any sense. Because if you fall down 7 times, you get up 7 times. Like, it might be 8 if you started on the ground. You can see I've thought about this a lot. It's like the inception of NBA commercials. But the player who topped them all, my basketball idol, was the point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers, Allen Iverson. One of the big reasons I liked him was because, like me, he was short for a basketball player. He's listed as 6 feet on Wikipedia, and I'm listed as the same height on Tinder. And on a rainy day in Chicago when I was 12 years old, I got to meet him. We were in Chicago because my dad was attending a medical conference at a hotel downtown, and my mom and I were waiting in the hotel in the morning for the conference to end, when a member of the hotel staff told us that the 76ers were staying there for their game against the Chicago Bulls, and that if we stayed in the lobby long enough, we would see them come through on their way to the bus that would take them to the arena. So my mom and I planned a stakeout. I went to the gift shop and I got a postcard with the Chicago skyline on it to have something for them to sign because I didn't have a basketball on me. And we plopped down on the couch in the middle of the lobby and waited. But we weren't the only ones there. About an hour in, this guy in a black leather jacket, black pants, and black shoes sat down next to us. He introduced himself as Calvin. He said, are you here for the Sixers too? I said, yes, sir. He said, you play ball? I said, yeah. Second team all JCC. He was like, respect. And he said, you know, I know all the players. I work with them all the time, you know, on the 76ers, on other teams. In fact, and then he pointed at my Sharpie and postcard, and he said, I can get you Allen Iverson's autograph. I can hook you up. My eyes grew wide. This was the greatest moment of my life, and that's when my mom leaned over and said, Mr. Calvin, you said you work with the players. What is it exactly that you do with them? And he said, well, let's just say when they come to town, I find them entertainment. That helps relax them. And I said, like laser tag? And that's when I felt my mom wrap her arms around me and pull me closer. So we waited there next to Calvin the Entertainer while my mom was frantically texting her husband that their 12-year-old son had unwittingly befriended a pimp and was trying to get on his party bus. About 30 minutes later, the elevator door was opened and a parade of strong men in business suits filed out. And Calvin got up and went over and talked to them. And so I followed them out and I ran outside. My mom ran after me. But by the time I got out, everyone was on the bus. I'd missed my chance. I was devastated. until I saw Calvin step back off the bus. And as soon as he saw me, he remembered his promise. He motioned me over and he turned to the driver and he said, "Hey, can you get Alan up here?" A few seconds later, Alan Iverson appeared at the top of the steps. And Calvin said, "Alan, can you sign this kid's postcard?" And Alan Iverson, legend of the Philadelphia 76ers, my basketball idol, said 4 words I will remember for as long as I live. Man, fuck that kid. It was the specificity of it that really hurt. Because he didn't say fuck kids, he said fuck that kid. Like we'd met before, and this was personal for him. I looked at Calvin like, I think he needs some more help relaxing. In Allen Iverson's defense, fuck that kid is just a standard greeting in Philadelphia. But I didn't know that at the time, so what he said was still tough for 12-year-old to hear from one of their heroes. So I tried not to cry. I tried to pull myself together. I'd gotten knocked down 1 time, so I needed to get back up 2 times. I heard Calvin say, "You know what, Alan? You're right. Do it for me. Give the kid an autograph for me." And Allen Iverson thinks about this for a second, and he goes, "All right, fine." And he goes like this. And he was motioning for me to hand up the postcard and the Sharpie, but I thought he was telling me to come on the bus. So I put my first step, and the pimp just reached out and was like, "No, just give him the postcard." So I handed it to him, and he signed it, gave it back to me, and I thanked both of them, and I ran back to my mom, and I said, I got the autograph. And she said, "That's great, honey." I couldn't hear the conversation from the sidewalk. "Did he say anything to you?" I was a bad liar, so I told her what he said and watched her face go red with anger. And she said, "I think it's time for you to find a new player to be your role model. I hear LeBron James is nice." And I said, "I already have a new role model, Calvin the Entertainer." Thank you very much.